I had just stepped out of a cab suitcase rolling behind me when flashing red and blue lights cut across the front of my house. And then I heard it. "There he is, officer. That's the man who broke into my house." The voice was shrill, panicked, and it was coming from Barbara Clean, our HOA president, standing on my porch in my late wife's silk robe. She wasn't joking. She was accusing me of trespassing at my own home. Act 1. The conflict begins. My name's Frank Hayes. I'm 38. I work in cybersecurity, and a year ago I bought what I thought was my dream house, a modern glass and steel mansion tucked inside a fancy subdivision on Cypress Lane. I travel a lot for work, so this place was supposed to be my fortress of solitude, a safe space. But the catch came with 3 little letters, HOA, and at the top of that pyramid was Barbara. Late 50s blonde ponytail pulled so tight it looked painful, always clutching a clipboard like it was the 10 Commandments. Her Mercedes was 10 years old, but spotless, polished within an inch of its life. Everything about her screamed, "Trying too hard." Our very first encounter should have told me what I was in for. I'd been unpacking boxes less than a week when she showed up at my door, smiled with her lips but not her eyes, and declared that my sleek black mailbox was non-compliant. She demanded I replace it with a hideous green colonial-style box or pay $50 a day in fines. I tried explaining it matched the architecture. She cut me off with a chirpy line. "The rules are the rules for a reason." And like a fool, I caved. I replaced the mailbox. That single act of submission lit the fire. Because once she knew I'd been, the citations started raining down trash cans out too long, a package left on my porch, even a maple tree I planted that wasn't on the approved flora list. It was death by 1,000 HOA violations. My neighbor Arthur, a retired professor, chuckled one afternoon as he watched me measuring my lawn with a ruler. "Getting the Barbara treatment, I see. Don't let her get to you. She's jealous, always has been." I laughed it off, but inside it burned. So when a big client contract in Tokyo came up, I thought a month away would give me a break. I notified the HOA as required, May 1st to June 1st, and set my home's security system. And when I say security system, I don't mean a doorbell camera. This was my craft. Sensors, logs, cameras in every corner. My house became a digital ghost that whispered everything back to me. And halfway across the world in a Tokyo hotel room, the ghost started whispering. First, the thermostat clicked from away mode to 72 degrees. Then my fridge registered new items, milk yogurt, cheap Chardonnay I would never buy. A few nights later, my Plex account lit up. Someone had streamed 3 hours of trashy reality TV. My blood ran cold. I pulled the feeds. And there she was, Barbara sitting on my couch in a cashmere throw, drinking from my crystal glasses, her husband Gary flipping channels with my remote. Shoes off, feet on my ottoman. They weren't robbing me, they were living in my house. The fury in my chest almost sent me straight to the phone to call the police. But the strategist in me, the side clients paid top dollar for, told me not to. Barbara was HOA president. She could spin a story. I was an absent homeowner yelling from Japan. It would be my word against hers. I needed more than proof. I needed the perfect trap. Act 2. Escalation and Turning Point. For 2 weeks I became a ghost in my own house. I archived everything, videos of them eating at my table, sleeping in my bed, entertaining guests on my patio with my 20-year-old single malt. Barbara wandering my office, running her hands over my leather chair. And then came the breaking point. The closet. My wife Eleanor passed away 2 years ago. I hadn't been able to part with her things. One night on camera, Barbara slipped on Eleanor's scarf and twirled in front of the mirror like it belonged to her. Something cracked in me. This wasn't just about trespassing, this was desecration. But I held my focus. I activated the office microphone. And jackpot, Barbara bragged to a friend. "The owner's some tech nerd overseas. The least I can do is keep everything operational. Gary loves the 85-inch TV." Better still, I caught her on tape snapping at Gary. "Relax. I have his itinerary. He won't be back until the 1st. As long as we're out by the 31st, he'll never know. There it was. Intent. Premeditation. Exhibit A. I sent the files to my lawyer, David Chen. His reply was instant. Frank, in 20 years, I've seen some brazen stuff, but this is criminal gold. Let's nail her. We made a plan. I wouldn't come home on June 1st. I'd come back mid-May, catch her red-handed. David's advice was simple. Let her call the cops. Let her overplay her hand. Stay calm. Facts will bury her. Still doubt gnawed at me. Sitting in Tokyo replaying that footage of Barbara in Eleanor's clothes, I wondered what if nobody believed me? What if this whole fight made me look crazy? For a moment I thought about selling the place, just walking away. But then I pictured my dad's face the day I signed the deed. Proud. This was supposed to be my home, my fresh start after losing Eleanor. If I gave it up to an HOA tyrant, that would be the real betrayal. So I booked my flight. Act 3. The Showdown in Justice. When I turned onto Cypress Lane, suitcase rattling behind me, Barbara was right there on my porch, wearing Eleanor's silk kimono, sipping wine like she owned the place. She looked up, confusion flickering into panic, then shifting into indignation. She slammed her glass down. "Who are you? This is private property." I stopped at the steps. "Hello, Barbara. I live here." Her face flushed red. "That's impossible. The owner isn't due back for 2 weeks. It was a slip of confession, but she doubled down. She whipped out her phone, dialed 911, and shrieked loud enough for half the neighborhood to hear. "There's a man trying to break into my house. Please send someone." Perfect. Within minutes, sirens wailed. 2 cruisers rolled up, lights painting my driveway red and blue. Neighbors peeked out from porches, including Arthur, arms crossed, eyes sharp. Barbara pointed at me, trembling hand voice dripping with fake terror. "Officers, that man is a trespasser. Arrest him." One young cop reached for his weapon. The older sergeant raised a hand, calmer. "Sir, identification." "Of course," I said evenly. I pulled out my license, handed it over. He compared the photo, the address. 1120 Cypress Lane. It matched. His posture shifted just slightly. Barbara sputtered. "So what? He could have forged it. I'm the HOA president. I'm responsible for this property." Her words hung in the air, arrogant and desperate. Exactly what David predicted. I gestured toward the door. "Officers, may I demonstrate?" They nodded. I walked past Barbara, pressed my thumb to the biometric scanner. With a chime and a click, the deadbolt released. My door swung open. The silence afterward was deafening. You can't fake a fingerprint. And right on cue, David Chen arrived, crisp suit leather briefcase. He introduced himself, shook the sergeant's hand, then turned to Barbara. "My client owns this home. We also have extensive digital evidence that Mrs. Clean has been illegally residing here." He pulled out a tablet, tapped play. Barbara's voice filled the air. "We just have to make sure we're completely out by the 31st. He'll never even know." The officers' faces hardened, Barbara's crumbled, and then icing on the cake. Gary opened the door, pale and sweating. He blurted, "I told her it was a bad idea. She made me do it." That was it. Sergeant Miller's tone went flat. "Barbara Clean, you have the right to remain silent." The sound of handcuffs clicked sharp in the suburban air. Neighbors whispered. Arthur gave me a nod, a small, satisfied gesture that said more than words ever could. Barbara's reign as queen of the HOA ended not in a boardroom, but in the back of a patrol car, wrists shackled, face pale. And I didn't cheer. I didn't gloat. I just stood there, finally breathing, as the woman who tried to steal my home was driven away in humiliation. Closing line. Bullies hide behind titles and rules, but the moment you fight back with patience and proof, their power collapses into nothing.